Just when you start thinking it's not possible for me to hate the Celestial Dragons any more than I already do, Oda comes and shows you that you actually don't hate them enough. But despite the evils that we saw this chapter and Luffy's extremely hyped return back to the battlefield, there's one specific thing from this chapter that I kind of want to talk about today and focus on, because I feel like it has some really major implications on the story and some really important characters that we've already met. The thing I want to talk about today is the trait that Shuri inherited that unlocked these special eyes that Imu seems to desire. Now this is really interesting and important because people have kind of treated fans that pay a lot of attention to the eyes that we've seen throughout the story as guys that are kind of grasping for straws or trying to force something out of nothing. But as we know, it's not as shown in manga if it doesn't have special eyes. Certain bloodlines having certain powers being passed down throughout their lines is not rare to the story, but to see it finally confirmed in this one specific instance with that type of trait is really important, and we're gonna definitely spend some time talking about that today. So why is this important? Who does this affect? When does Zoro finally show us his Rinnegan? These are the questions we're going to try to answer today, and I've told y'all plenty of times I am a man of solutions. So without any further delay, let's just go ahead and hop to it. So over the course of the years, fans have focused on the importance of eyes for a while. We know this. This has been conversation even in this arc with Imu showing up, and of course Loki earlier in the arc as well. This has happened so much so that people have over time really gotten annoyed with it. They, like I said, they think you're forcing it. Just because Naruto got the Sharingan and the Rinnegan doesn't mean One Piece has to have special eyes too. We already had the three-eye triad stuff, but I don't think that really fits what we're talking about in this instance. Now, I feel like there is no more satisfying feeling than an author validating something that you've been called crazy for years. Sanji fans, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about when he gets confirmed to have Conqueror's Haki. Just wait on it, guys. I promise you. The Man-Meyer Celestial Dragon family having a specific trait and power tied to their bloodline raises a few really important questions. What is this power? And while this is undoubtedly a question that we just can't answer right now, we can definitely look at how special Gunko has been treated and try to make some conclusions based off of that. Now, when we first see her in the God Valley flashback, she's tending directly to Imu in the flower room, which implies a much closer connection than a lot of other Celestial Dragons or even Holy Knights have with Imu. They know of her existence, but it doesn't seem to be to this level, especially considering that she's just a blade of God at this point, which while Harold and Shanks are blades of God, I don't think they're even aware of Imu's existence. Now, I might be grasping for straws here, but I would like to guess that maybe Shuri's power has something to do with Imu's possession being so perfect when it comes to her. We see Imu take over Saturn's body at God Valley, and he's just a blob that's an extension of his body that already exists. But for Gunko, it's a perfect possession. He's in her body and it doesn't look unnatural at all. Maybe she has some type of special soul that's either perfectly compatible with Imu, or it can be manipulated and moved around in a way that she allows Imu to just get full control of her body. So we know that this is really important for Gunko, but who else does this impact in the story? Well, I do think it's kind of obvious where I'm going, right? I mean, we all know that there are three things in life that are guaranteed: death, taxes, and a Mihawk upscale. If you told me that there is one line of Celestial Dragons that have a trait that's inherited through bloodline that shows through their eyes, then of course I'm going to look at Mihawk, who has the only eye in the story outside of one specific circumstance we're going to talk about that perfectly matches Imu's eyes themselves. There are several outstanding features from characters that wind up being really closely tied to not only their lineage, but just the way that they're perceived in the world as a whole. You have red-haired Shanks. His red hair, I believe, personally, is going to be really important to maybe the bloodline of his mom's side, because I do think that God Valley itself was a really important place for the D-Clan, but that's another video that I'm going to get into. But either way, I think his red hair is going to be really important to his character. Even when it comes to just accessories like Luffy's straw hat, that's going to be extremely important to not only Luffy, but the whole lineage of Joy Boy and their role in the story as well. Whitebeard, Blackbeard, I think we're going to get a lot of exposition on why they're specifically called by these features of their body. And I think that's going to have something to do with the Buccaneer clan for those two in particular. But like I said, I'm letting off a little bit too much. Let's bring it back into Mihawk. Hawkeye is his namesake. That is the most famous thing Mihawk is known for outside of his swordsmanship. It is his eyes. He's the only one that has the exact same style and color of Imu's, despite Toei being really obsessed with not fixing a glaring mistake that they made. Mihawk does not have yellow eyes. I feel like 1,000 episodes have gone by since he was introduced, At some point, there could have been a board meeting where they're just like, hey, we messed up. I don't think anyone's gonna be mad if we fixed his eyes. But it's like, nah, we're just gonna die on the sword. That seems to be what they've agreed on. But I've already made a full video detailing Mihawk's potential connection to the Ronin family. That's really hard to say. This is like my 4th take, and I've been messing up. I don't know what is some type of tongue twister. But I've already made a video about that. I'll drop the link in the description. S-Hawk is involved as well, but you know, you can go back and watch that if you'd like to. But before I continue and move on to some other characters, I do kind of want to get some off my chest because I'm far from your average Mihawk fan. I like Mihawk a lot, but I'm not like a big Mihawk stan supporter like a lot of people are. I do think it's really corny though, that when Mihawk fans try to theorize and make predictions about his character and link him to other existing characters, they get so much pushback. I don't know if it's PTSD from the ZKK days, because it's usually the same people that are Mihawk and Zoro fans, but the amount of people that like genuinely get upset when they theorize about their favorite character is kind of concerning. Like, I literally just saw Sanji fans theorizing that Gonko's dad was a Vinsmoke just because he was smoking a cigarette. There is no other link possibly besides the fact that he was sitting there smoking a cigarette, similar to how Sanji has in the past, I guess. But when you make really valid observations about Mihawk, people start raising pitchforks like, hey, we're sick of these Zoro fans. They're always trying to make Mihawk important. Bro, listen, we can't be hypocrites. We're all One Piece fans. We all want our characters to matter in the story. You can't be mad at Mihawk fans for doing the same thing, especially with as little focus as he's gotten so far. We're obviously saving him for something. Let's just try to predict what that is. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, Mihawk isn't the only person with the same style of eye as Imu. Some people tend to bring up Robin, but I don't think it's exactly the same. I think her pupil is a lot bigger, if that's the pupil I'm referring to. I'm not an eye doctor, unfortunately. But I think that her pupil is a lot different than Mihawk and Imu's in particular. It's ringed, but not ringed in the same way. She just has a much bigger circle inside of her eye. Zunisha and Cavendish are two characters that come to mind immediately though, because Zunisha has pretty obvious Void Century ties, and maybe their punishment was when they got those ringed eyes. It would be interesting if that punishment came directly from Imu, and that's when their eyes was turned that way. And we don't really have much of an idea of Hakuba's origins, but I'm pretty sure it's not just going to be something random, and it's probably going to tie in with some Void Century stuff as well, knowing Oda. The only time we actually see an eye that perfectly matches style and color for Mihawk and Imu is when the minks turn Sulong. Now this is something that is linked to a specific race, and in this case, it refers to them going to their true form. Now perhaps the characters with this specific style of eye could all be linked to some of the original races that walked the One Piece planet. And in Mihawk and Imu's case, they could be in what would be considered the true form of their race permanently. It's like a permanent Sulong for them. We don't know exactly what abilities Mihawk could have from his eye, and the same would go from Imu, but if they are like the perfect awakened form of their race, that would be really cool to me, and I can't wait until we get more information about Mihawk or Imu if they are related. But you know, we want Mihawk stuff anyway because he's a cool character in his own right. Like, he doesn't have to have these stuff. He doesn't have to have this stuff to stand as a cool character, but it wouldn't hurt at all because everybody in One Piece is related to somebody. And if that's going to be the trend that we're going to follow, then let's not just stop when we get to Mihawk. Anyway though, that's all I got today. I wanted to speak on this because I do think that coming off of that old Mihawk video I made, it was not really old, but that Mihawk video I made and getting this confirmation could lead to a lot of really important bloodline stuff being revealed in the end game of the story. And I do think it has a really important link to Haki as well, and why Oda kind of doesn't show his hand when it comes to Haki, because I think there's a lot of stuff that he still can't tell us yet because it's related to things like this. So the closer we get to the end of the story, the more information we're going to get, and he can't keep being vague man for the rest of time. If you enjoyed the video, I appreciate you for checking it out. I did say in my last one I wasn't going to ask for like and subscribe no more, but I mean, it doesn't hurt, I guess. I did, and I know I asked for hype a few videos ago. I can't get hype because I'm not monetized yet, but hey, like and subscribe and maybe I could be monetized soon. Who knows? I appreciate y'all for checking this video out. Thank you. Have a great day. Hopefully I get this out probably within the next hour or so. So yeah, peace out.